Welcome to Pat's Papers. I'm Pat Kiernan, our daily summary of headlines from U.S. newspapers. Here's our top story today. There is a lot of coverage of the NTSB investigation into the February plane crash near Buffalo. The focus is firmly on pilot error. USA Today with the story on page 1 saying the pilots seemed oblivious to the danger ahead. The Buffalo News report this morning also pointing in the front page story to the inexperience of the pilots. The New York Daily News publishing a good portion of the cockpit transcript, and the main story on page 8 of this newspaper says it took just 26 seconds for the flight to become the tough editorial on the topic, too. It says you get what you pay for. Chesley Sullenberger was a well-paid veteran who pulled off the impossible with his emergency landing in January in the Hudson River. These two pilots, on the other hand, on the Buffalo flight were relatively inexperienced, and they failed when they were tested. Social Security and Medicare are in dire straits. That in the Washington Post this morning. And not really news in itself, but the concern this morning is how much worse off the programs are than they were just a year ago. According to an assessment by Medicare trustees, that program has just 8 years to go before it's unable to pay its bills. From Kingman, Arizona, in the Daily Miner, it was a relatively routine fire at a local motel, but there's a newsworthy twist. The local fire department uses helmet cam technology now, so you can see the firefighters at work with the point-of-view video clips released by the firefighters. Tone it down. That was the Food and Drug Administration instruction to General Mills over Cheerios. The story reported all across the country, including the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, where General Mills is based. The FDA reprimanded the company for claiming that eating those little O's can lower cholesterol by 4% in 6 weeks. Someone's long-forgotten rotting bag lunch became a medical emergency yesterday in California. In the San Jose Mercury News, a report that the smell emanating from an office refrigerator was so bad that the victims, 28 employees for AT&T, had to reach out and call 911. New York Times, Apple continuing to fight the jailbreak. That's what the hackers call it, when they break the software lock so people can install applications on an iPhone that are not authorized by Apple. For all of Apple's legal maneuvering, though, one expert says the problem would easily go away if Apple would just make the popular unauthorized programs authorized. Among the favorites for the jailbroken iPhones are a video camera feature and a tethering application that lets you connect your PC to the internet through your phone. If you work in banking and thought your pay was safe, you won't like the headline in the Wall Street Journal this morning. The Obama administration is trying to figure out how it can change compensation practices across the entire banking industry, not just for banks that receive bailout money. Alaska Governor Sarah Palin will publish her memoirs by 2010. In the Anchorage Daily News this morning, word that publisher HarperCollins has not disclosed how much Palin's going to receive for that book deal. Finally, you can still buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack, but just don't bring them back to Section 319. The Philadelphia Inquirer says fans of the Camden River Sharks who suffer from nut allergies now have a section where they can enjoy some peanut-free baseball. We send out a list of our favorite stories by email as well. You can subscribe on our webpage at patspapers.com. That's also where you'll find links to all of the stories I've talked about today.